So in today's video, I'm going to do a review of Book 5 in Karl Ove Knausgaard's 6-volume autobiographical novel, My Struggle. Volume number 5, called Some Rain Must Fall, and it's a good title. A lot of rain does fall in this book. It takes place in Bergen, Norway, and it goes from when Karl Ove was about 20 years old all the way up until he was about 32, and then he moves from Bergen to another city, which I won't mention. If you've read the book so far, you will already know. Anyways, this I think is my favorite book in the series thus far. I've read them all. They're here on my shelf with all the other books, so you can see how smart I am. You know, I think one of the strengths about this book, Knausgaard is able to take you on the journey into this character. And in book number 1, you read about the death of his father. That's why he was inspired to write this long, historical, very detailed journey into his life. And his father was like a very tyrannical influence in his life. One of the most interesting parts about this book was going and reading into the same situation that happened in book 1 and 2, but now through the lens of Karl Ove when he was 28 years old, learning about the death of his father, instead of here in book number 1, when he was writing about it as like his 40-year-old self, the author who is sitting down to write this entire series. So there's a lot happening on this level where you're reading about a character who is named after the author. He shares a name, but how much of him are we able to believe? Because look here on the first page of this book, he says, "The 14 years I lived in Bergen from 1988 to 2002 are long gone. No traces of them are left, other than in incidents a few people might remember. A flash of recollection here, a flash of recollection there, and of course whatever exists in my own memory of that time. But there is surprisingly little," he says, as he goes on to write 663 pages. So he remembered quite a bit, or he was able to, make some stuff up along the way, and you hear about a lot of the big themes in his life in this book are, his relationship to his older brother, which is really the focus of the novel. It's a book about these two brothers, and it's a book about Karl Ove struggling to become a writer, because he's inspired to move to Bergen in order to go and hang out with his brother, live with him, but also to attend a writing academy. And he gets there and is basically told his work is a bunch of cliches and he's not very good, and he gets down on himself and he gets blackout drunk about every weekend, every night at some times. He eventually starts writing for a newspaper and doing some literary criticism. He does a time where he's working for like a student radio, and that's just sort of gets his feet wet in the literary world of Norway. He's playing in a band with his older brother, and he feels like the only reason he's a part of the group is because his brother wrote the songs and plays the guitar, and he plays drums barely, but enough to get by. And so he's trying to come into and find himself really in his brother's sort of shadow, and then trying to find his voice as a writer at the same time. And he's able to talk about his life and say, put onto the page a lot of stuff that most people won't even admit to themselves in thought, or won't even tell their friends about it. But this guy is willing to put it all down on the book, and he tells it like it is, and it's from the heart, and it's at points it's pretty brutal. He does some stupid shit in here that I certainly wouldn't want to really write about myself. So, would I recommend it? I'm reluctant to recommend a 3,500 page autobiographical novel, but if you're interested in getting into this type of thing, and it's an incredible reading experience, like some of the people here in the back, Knausgaard is a genius without doubt, says the Toronto Star. And Yeah, so I think it's a courageous effort that he puts on in this book, and that's about the highest praise I think I can give. I rate it 5 stars. If you haven't read the series yet, I would recommend start from the beginning. But if you are not the type of person that's willing to go and read a 5-volume autobiographical novel, but you're interested in the stuff I talked about, you can jump in at book 5 and you won't feel out of place. You'll just be learning about the life of a guy who gets in a writing academy and sort of grows up in Norway throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, and it'd be an awesome book by itself. And that might inspire you maybe to get started at book number 1. I can't wait for the 6th and final volume to come out. Just got to wait another year till it's translated into English. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more book reviews, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching.